Alrighty, I'm actually at work right now. I had a little bit of free time, so we're in the back room of Complete Nutrition here in Tyler. I actually manage it, so you need any supplements or nutritional advice, come see me. After I went through the Rate That Abortion worksheet, and after watching your lecture and reading the notes over Noonan and Thompson, my views didn't really change on anything. None of my answers changed. I agreed with a lot of what they said, and there were some things I didn't disagree, or I didn't agree with, rather. Now, Noonan says that abortion in any situation other than to save the mother's life is wrong after conception. And I don't really agree with that, because what about in a case of rape where the woman could have the child without harming her body at all, but she has to carry a rapist child for 9 months? Now you have to think, they're going through a lot of trauma. They were just raped. Now they've got to have a rapist child inside them for 9 months. There are other options. They could put it up for adoption, whatever. But that's got to be their choice. That may prolong their healing process from it. And there's a lot of other factors that go into that. So I don't agree with that. Now you've also got cases where the woman waited until 23 weeks to request an abortion. Now, I believe that it's wrong at this point because it's 23 weeks along. If you want to abort a child, do it when the fetus isn't developed. At 23 weeks, that fetus is developed too much for me to agree with abortion, no matter what the situation is, unless it's a situation where if it's not aborted, the mother and the fetus are going to die. Now, you've also got a case where the pregnant woman is a known prostitute. And this one was challenging for me. I put it in the middle because I couldn't decide if it was justifiable or it wasn't. I mean, you have to think, this woman's a known prostitute. Who knows who the father is? Who knows what disorders or disabilities or what the genetics are going to entail? On top of that, she's a prostitute. Is that necessarily the best type of person to raise a child? So would it be better to not put a child through that? Would it be better for her to have it and put it up for adoption, so it can go to a good home? That's the situation I would like to see. However, I guess that's up to them. That's not justifiable or unjustifiable depending on how you look at it. Now, as far as Thompson would say that it was selfish to abort the fetus to save the mother's life, when the fetus would have lived, and otherwise. Those were challenging questions to me. Like G and H on this Rate That Abortion. Both of those were a little bit difficult for me. I would have to say that both of those were justifiable, especially if she has 3 children she's taking care of. Yes, aborting a 4th one takes away a life, but one, if she doesn't abort it, she could have that child, and she has a high chance of dying. And then you've got 3 children that are raised without a mother. You can't you can't take one life away to save one life, and then you've got 5 people's lives who are negatively impacted because of that choice. Now, as far as Thompson on the Henry Fonz, you used a different actor in your lecture. I think it was Brad Pitt or something. In the violinist case, I don't agree with either one of those scenarios, because you're yes, in the violinist case, it's aimed more towards rape. You know, you didn't make that choice to be attached to somebody, but you've got to also think, you know, being attached to a random violinist, that's just a person that you've got the same blood type with, whatever. How can you relate that to a child that's inside of your body, that's a part of you? You know, it's got your genetic makeup, it's got everything about you. You know, it's part of you. So you can't really compare that to a situation where it's a complete stranger saving a random person's life. You're not saving a random person's life by carrying a child. You're saving your child's life. You're saving a part of you. And those are just my thoughts over a couple of this. But overall, all of my answers stayed the same. You can see at the top here, I put a check mark for the before I read it, and I was going to put X's for anything that I changed after. And going through these pages, you don't see any X's. All you see is, you know, stars for the points that I wanted to highlight. So I didn't change a single answer after the lecture or reading the notes.